And we are going to look about what James has to say about the human tongue. And this is pretty powerful stuff. So we'd like to get a volunteer to read from verse 2 through verse 8.
James 3:2-8. For we all stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well. Now if we put the bits into the horses' mouths, so that they may obey us, we direct their entire body as well. Behold, the ships also, though they are so great and are driven by strong winds, are still directed by a very small rudder, wherever the inclination of the pilot desires. So also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. Behold, how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, the very world of iniquity. The tongue is set among our members as that which defiles the entire body, and sets on fire the course of our life, and is set on fire by hell. For every species of beasts and birds, of reptiles and creatures of the sea, is tamed, and has been tamed by the human race. But no one can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil and full of deadly poison.
Yeah. Isn't that powerful stuff? Now, you can't, let me tell you this, brothers and sisters, you can't divorce the information in verses 2 through 8 from verse 1. You see, in the beginning of verse 2, I have the word for, don't you? For we all stumble. That is a direct connection to verse 1. We could substitute the word because. We could say in verse 1, let not many of you become teachers, my brethren, knowing that as such we shall incur a stricter judgment, because we all stumble in many ways, you see. So in doing that, what James does, he establishes that careless teaching is bad. Careless teaching doesn't build up the church. It tends to develop lopsided Christians, and so the primary thought here is that those who volunteer themselves as teachers have got to rightly divide the word of truth. He uses some good illustrations. Verse 3. If we put bits into the horses' mouths so that they may obey us, we direct their entire body as well. That's true, isn't it? That we can... Any horsemen here? Or horsewomen that go riding? You know, they know the value of the... Oh, you do? Isn't it important to have that bit there? Yeah. To control the movements and control the horse. So we control the horse's mouth with that bit, and therefore we really are in control of his entire body at that time. Verse 4, behold, the ships also, though they are so great and are driven by strong winds, they're still directed by a very small rudder, wherever the inclination of the pilot desires. That's a good illustration too, isn't it? And you know, they didn't have boats that were designed well enough to withstand the storms that came upon the major oceans of the earth. And to note that James says that these ships are so great. Golly, Sam, he should see some of the ships today. Enormous, aren't they, in comparison with the little rowing boats that they had on the Mediterranean. And but it's still true, that stern post rudder is still there, and it's still in control of the ship. So James says that that's how our tongue is as far as our body is concerned. So verse 5, so also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. Behold how great a forest is set aflame by such a small fire. And I was thinking about some of the huge fires that we've had in recent times. You know, these runaway fires, and they've had to have dozens of fire teams down into the area to try and get that runaway fire under control. And very often it's been caused by an individual, hasn't it? Who either by mistake or deliberately has set this little fire and it's grown into this enormous conflagration and eaten up tens of thousands of acres of forest land. Is set aflame by a small fire. And of course that small fire is our tongue where spiritual things are concerned.